Let's make sure we go live on YouTube here before we're good to go.
We're good here.
Come on. Well, I can keep on. It looks like our link to YouTube is not currently.
I'm sorry, what?
Our link to YouTube's not currently active, but we're up on Zoom.
We're up on Zoom.
Yes, ma'am. And we're, as long as that's on, we should be good to go. Is this on?
When you've got. Right.
Okay. Nivi, can you confirm you hear me okay?
I read you loud and clear, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
I didn't recognize you without a hat.
Oh, sorry. I know, I'm just covered up and my hair is growing out.
Okay, you guys are in. You guys are go.
Okay.
Are
we?
I don't. I'll keep on working on the YouTube link.
Okay. You want, is Niffy online?
Nivi is online.
Okay. We're ready to start, just a couple minutes late. Welcome, everybody. And I'm going to call the meeting to order. I welcome you, and we are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And calling the roll, Niffy.
Here.
Steve. Green. Dave.
Here.
Meredith. Here. All righty. Are there additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ask for you to put additions on the agenda and you call for and refused.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you were saying.
Said I asked for you to put things on the agenda and you refused.
Okay, go ahead. What did you want on the agenda, Dave?
I discussed the bookkeeping job.
Okay, and what did I tell you about the bookkeeping job?
Doesn't matter. I want it on the agenda.
All right, we'll put that under new business. That will be 4.3. 5.1. 5.1, thank you.
Correction to the chief's report concerning the radio prices.
I'll put that on there, but the chief's report is what it is.
Who is posting on the website?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Who is posting on the website?
Okay.
Who's doing the posting?
Okay,
And under old business, I'd like to be 4.0. I want to be first
well, what, on what? On what?
on the wire fire protection and CWPP.
So you have to address it when the agenda item is up.
We can change that. I want that up.
I disagree with changing that.
You can't, Dave.
Well, put it up under reports then.
It is inappropriate to put that under reports.
Well,
I don't understand what you're asking.
I want to be before 4.1. I want to be 4.0.
But 4.1 is going to include a discussion of the proposed community welfare protection plan, and you can be a part of that. Why do you have to be numero uno before that?
Because it has to be.
Well, you
Because
can't
this,
be.
it's the same thing.
That's what the discussion is about.
Okay,
That's
so
the-
I'm gonna go
that's the
ahead and
topic.
state that the agenda as it stands is, the agenda as it stands is primary. Any changes to the agenda must be approved by a majority of the board. It does not appear, Mr. Primer, that you have the majority of the board to be able to change the agenda to the order that you want. If you would like to be the first to speak during the discussion in 4.1, I mean, you can just be the first to be asked to be recognized by the president.
Can I ask Dave a question here? Dave, are you concerned that there's no discussion prior to the resolution?
I'm
concerned that you're gonna railroad this thing through.
There's definitely gonna be discussion.
We will have,
That's why everybody's here.
And then why is there no public comment on the agenda here?
there is public comment. It comes at the end.
Well, it should be up here at number 4.
We've discussed before that public comment has its position in our board meetings. We had tried 2 periods of public comment. It derailed our meetings. We're unable to proceed. I believe that the public still has an opportunity to ask questions during discussion before that we vote on a resolution. And that the president is able to go ahead and moderate those that ask the questions, the length of the question, and select the board members that respond. It is not an open forum during discussion, as we've,
Now, bylaws, it's listed as number 4 on the listing on the doing your agenda.
I don't follow, I'm sorry.
In our bylaws, it's listed, it should be number 4.
Oh, well, that's not written in stone, there. No, it's
written
not.
right in bylaws. Right on on the agenda.
The agenda is fluid, okay? It changes every month.
I'd like to, all right, I'd like to have a meeting.
Okay, I would move that we have public comment go from,
And one thing that
Wait a minute, Niffy, wait.
That rarely, not rarely, never my agenda discussion. I don't receive the agenda before it's complete. I don't receive anybody's discussion about the agenda. My input to the agenda is never taken.
Did you send something for the
I
agenda this time?
stopped because you always
Okay.
just shine it on. I
Well,
don't hear anything back.
If you don't send anything, we
Well, I
can't.
used to.
Okay.
okay, I'm sorry, we're wasting time with Steve griping about the agenda. The
We're gonna
agenda is
move on.
posted publicly. Everybody gets it at the same time. Mr. Green, as a board member, is always welcome to send agenda items to the president. And if he copies the entire board, I will
Let him,
personally,
hey, let him talk.
Point of order.
Let him
if
talk.
Mr. Green were to copy the board requesting agenda items, I would stand with him and ensure that his agenda items are put on the agenda. I have not seen anything from Mr. Green asking for anything to be on agenda in nearly a year. And him admitting publicly here that he doesn't even bother to submit agenda items makes his entire conversation and his point moot.
That's after months and months and months of no.
Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna move on. Thank you. Are there any conflicts of interest of the board related to any agenda items?
Yes, there's one big one.
A conflict of interest.
Yep, one big one. It's right in front of it. It's the whole board has a conflict. What is it? It's,
What?
well, it's Mr. Creek is not a lot for the district. However, he's running the board instead of becoming a firefighter, or he didn't run for the board.
Come on.
when he was
Point
up
of
there.
order, that has nothing to do with the conflict of interest that the board
Okay,
members currently
That
have.
is totally unrelated. Dave?
Firefighters should be, I agree with that. Firefighters should be involved in the fight.
Point of order, I would ask the president to rule that anything having to do with Mr. Creech has nothing to do with individual board members having a conflict of interest.
Okay, everybody, quiet.
But you're not having the volunteer officer doing our books.
I think we
He should
have-
be either firefighter or board member.
Again, point of order, that is not a conflict of interest that any board member has with the current agenda.
Not a board member.
But he's doing our books. He's acting like one.
He's a
Point of
volunteer.
order. Can we
Let's add
rule
it.
that this has nothing to do with it and move on, please?
Add it to the-
Approval, I'm going on to point 2.1, approval of the February 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes. Entertain a motion to accept, approve.
I move.
I
to accept.
second. All in favor of
Aye.
approving the February minutes? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay, they didn't include half the meeting.
Okay, it's all right. Moving on to the treasurer's report, Niffy.
So I'm currently on vacation and unavailable. I'm going to allow Mr. Creech, our bookkeeper who prepared the treasurer's report, to go ahead and walk over it. There is one anomaly that I think he has the most detail on being able to explain, and I think that's important for our community to understand the present anomalies in our treasurer's report as we reconcile our books.
Okay, Chris, can you address that? Chief?
Sir, do you want to go over just the basics of the books up to, or for the report, and then I can talk about the ones.
Well, the treasurer's report is posted. I think, if folks have questions, they should bring them up. But it's not really valuable, in my opinion, to read through them. That's why I haven't read the treasurer's report for most of my time as treasurer and vice president of the board.
Perfect. In that case, Niffy, if it's okay with you, I'll talk to the nominees or speak to the nominees. So right at this point, the accountant that we work with, this is tax season, as most of us know. Our accountant is very heavily involved in doing taxes for her clients, and has not been able to reconcile the books as we normally have them reconciled before the treasurer report is done each month. So there are portions of the numbers for this last month that are unreconciled, so they're not put in the correct spots, but everything is accounted for, and the spend is expected. So there's nothing out of the ordinary. It just doesn't read the correct way that we normally have it written, or we have it done with reconciliation. Does that make sense to everybody? Chris, is there anything else you want to add to that? It's basically trying to keep it as simple as possible. Niffy, does that seem like an adequate?
That's perfect. And I want to remind the board that this is a report from the treasurer.
Okay, any questions? We'll move on to chief's report then.
Okay. So we've got a lot going on in the fire district right now. So first thing, regional and county, the Mountain Chiefs can still working with Jeffco Emergency Management to create a basically mountain. We're hoping to go countywide, but if it's not going to be countywide, it'll just be the mountain area departments, creating an all hazards and wildland agreement amongst ourselves and with the Jefferson County Emergency Management and the Wildland Division. We've been working on this for about a year now. The final drafts from Jefferson County and the lawyers came back to the Mountain Chiefs about a week ago. We were able to review them, and we're very close to having a final copy. When we do have a final copy to that for approval, it will come to the board for signature, for review and signature. And at this point, I think the timeline for that is that we'll have that before you guys all in May. Regionally, I was able to assist our neighbor Golden Fire with their battalion chief hiring process at the beginning of the month. That's something that collectively all the agencies help different agencies hire or go through a hiring process. It allows us to kind of put different points of view in for our partners that we're going to be interacting with, especially as they hire overhead. For Golden Gate in particular, it's really important that we were able to help participate with that. Being that battalion chief is going to be our closest overhead resource that we'll be able to request from Golden. And so we really appreciate them inviting us to participate in their hiring process, as it does directly affect all of the members within the fire district. Administration wise, we've got a lot of things going on. ESL implementation still in progress. That's what I was doing all day today with them. At this point, we're looking at a full implementation in the next 6 weeks is my anticipated timeline. It's been a little bit delayed with all the other stuff that's happening within the district, and some of the early hiccups we had with ESO, but we're moving forward with that pretty quickly. The Jefferson County fueling program change is fully in swing. We filled at training last night. I think we filled like 7 trucks down there. And it's working very, very smoothly. The feedback from the firefighters during the change has been super positive. They're really looking forward to the operational efficiency that we have with this, just being able to go to the bottom of the canyon. They can go to one place to get both diesel and gas, and it's saving us significant time. And then operationally, when we do have extended operations in the district and we have to fill trucks and we can't get a fuel truck, it decreases our turnaround time. And it's really been super efficient so far. It's also, we're looking forward to the economic efficiency that brings to the district as well. Great news. So we were awarded our first grant of 2024. GGFPD was awarded a full $20,000 grant from Division of Fire Prevention and Control from the Firefighter Safety and Disease Grant. This grant is going to allow the district to replace bunker gear. This is super significant. I'm not reading directly from this because when I came into the district, all of our gear was on, basically the entirety of the bunker gear, all of the structural PPE that we had was on the verge of expiring within the next 12 to 24 months. And in the last two cycles of grants, we were able to replace all of our aging frontline bunker gear completely. So this is super important for a couple of different reasons. We now have our firefighters will be continually outfitted in modern PPE that meets or exceeds the current NFPA standards for protection. The second is that our firefighters will now be able to have a second set of backup gear that's in good repair. So when we have an exposure during a structure fire, a car accident, or even EMS call where we get blood on our gear and it has to be cleaned, that takes our gear out of service for 24 to 72 hours, depending. And that firefighter did not have gear to be able to go back into as a backup set. So we now will have a backup set for them to be able to go into, and it also allows them to be able to use a set of gear for training purposes, especially when we're doing high impact training, that allows us to not put as much wear on the initial or their frontline set of gear. It keeps them in better repair. The third thing that's really important about this full refresh is that it allows us, with a full fresh slate of gear, to accurately forecast and budget for the capital replacement that is bunker gear moving forward on a rolling annual basis, so that the district doesn't get itself in the situation that we were in a year ago, where we have a bunch of basically our entire catalog of PPE that's going to expire within a very short time frame, and we have to scramble to get a large sum of money to replace that. So we want to make sure that we can build that into our budgets moving forward, and we're continually replacing gear so that it's always annually being refreshed every 10 years. And allows us to strategically do that moving forward. As a final note, this is a little bit more of a nice touch for us. Our gear we currently have, most of it has been either smaller grants or donations from other fire departments. And most of it does not have markings on it. So our firefighters go onto a scene and you can't tell that they're Golden Gate firefighters, especially from the back. They're just somebody in black bunker gear. All of our new gear will now be spec'd to say GGFPD across the back, along with the firefighter's name on it. Again, so none of the firefighters were identifiable from the rear, unless you're able to see their face and their plate on their helmet. So this is going to help us with identification on emergency scenes, as well as accountability for emergency scenes and training. So we're really looking forward to that extra level of safety and meeting compliance. Additional recept of donations. Golden Gate Fire was a recipient of a donation of 4, and actually I found out yesterday, possibly 6 additional Scott SCBA packs and bottles from a neighboring agency that switched from Scott to a different manufacturer. This donation is really important to us because we have a limited amount of SCBA packs. And especially when we go out of the district for training, as we are for the training days for Fire Academy, we have to be able to take packs with us. And we were trying to balance how many packs we had to leave in the district for operations and how many packs we need to take there to safely protect our instructors and our firefighters during training. And this alleviates that concern. We were going to have to borrow SCBAs from other districts in order to make this happen. And this additional 4 to 6 Scott packs is going to make it so that we have everything covered and we have a defined set of SCBAs for training, and also for when we have to take packs out of operation for maintenance.
What is that? Explain what a PEC is.
An SCBA, so it's self-contained breathing apparatus. It's
Okay,
an air tank
thank
with a
you.
mask. The other big thing that's important with this, however, is that all of these packs, so the packs that we're getting donated match our current packs, as far as the make and model and year that they were manufactured. They're all also reaching the end of their functional, expected functional or scheduled functional life. So this helps us bridge the gap until we're able to secure district-wide funding or secure funding for district-wide SCBA replacement, which we're looking at trying to provide or apply for a grant for in the fall. It's a very, very significant capital cost that the district will not be able to afford without a grant. And we are glad to be able to have that gap filled until we're able to do so. But it's also one of our big targets for the end of the year is to get all of our SCBAs replaced in order to make sure that we are in compliance with NFPA standards. So there's that with SCBAs. Station 82. So Station 82 firefighters, led by resident firefighter McDaniel, have been hard at work reconfiguring Station 82's bay to accommodate some newly built training props. They came together during the academy and decided that we should have some props that we're building into the station itself. We're implementing something called training by design, where we have some like hose loads that are built into the bay, so the firefighters can pull out a truck and they can pull and practice pulling hose and deploying hose in the bay in a warm and protected space, but without taking a truck out of service. So previously we were having to take a truck out and pull hose off and reload it and pull hose off and reload it. And if a call came out during that time, that hose has to either be dropped and we wouldn't be able to bring that hose with us to an emergency call, or we'd have to try to find a way to quickly reload it and still expeditiously get out the door to a call. So it also it eliminates that, but it also allows us to be faster with our training evolutions. They're building a maze inside of that building, all kinds of really cool training props that all kind of fit into the back corner. So we're really proud of that, but also they're in the process of building a gym. So they've been working really hard at this project. It's being led again by firefighter McDaniel. And this is going to be the first dedicated workout facility for the fire district. And it's something that they're super, super excited about. And we're happy to have a quality workout facility in district to better facilitate firefighter fitness. Operations. So we're still on the slow part of the season. As most of you know, we really don't see much of a call volume from January through mid-April. We've had 17 calls to date as of the submission of this report. So we're still at 17. We haven't had anything for the last couple of days. However, we did experience several very high acuity calls in the last month, mostly concentrated around the snowstorm on March 14th and 15th. We responded to several significant automobile accidents with dramatic injuries during that time. Of specific note, GGFPD firefighters and stadium medical EMS providers were able to deploy a new technology that we implemented into the district, which is a life-saving tool called SAM pelvic binder, which is a automatic pelvic binder that you wrap around someone who's got a broken pelvis, which can very quickly kill somebody. And we had implemented this a couple of months ago, and we were actually able to deploy it and make a difference with that tool during one of those calls. With the volume of snow that we experienced, we also highlighted several operational inefficiencies within our own district, as well as on a very large regional level. It's something that's being talked about in Jeffco and actually all along the Front Range after that snowstorm, is really looking at where the weaknesses are on the local, regional, and state level. We definitely saw some things that we can improve on in the district from that snowstorm. However, we also participated in an after action review 3 days ago regionally that discussed different opportunities for improvement, of which there are quite a few. And we're looking to implement these changes issue from I-70 traffic during that snowstorm. That specific reroute issue then led to multiple tractor trailers trying to travel Golden Gate Canyon during the middle of that snowstorm and caused two very significant incidents that completely blocked the highway. Or blocked the road, not quite at the highway. That coupled with the emergency declaration and a request from Gilpin County Sheriff, and also just the general dangerous conditions of the roads did cause us to close Golden Gate Canyon Road for approximately 18 hours. I know that can be a touchy thing for people, and I know it causes frustration. However, it did allow us to keep the road safe until it was properly plowed, and we were able to stymie the flow of incidents that we were having at that time. And I really appreciate that you guys, people who are patient with that, and it allowed us to keep the road safe. Personnel, some more great stuff. So we have 23 operational members currently, 4 support services members, and 2 operational firefighters that are on leave of absence. In the last 30 days, we're incredibly proud to have brought on 2 new lateral firefighters or fire service members into Golden Gate Fire Protection District. The first is engineer Eric Herber. Eric is a Station 83 volunteer. He lives at the base of the canyon. He is just over the district line. He's a career firefighter in Vail. He has 8 years of volunteer fire experience and brings a host of training as well as leadership experience to Golden Gate Fire. Eric is going to be filling the lateral position and of engineer. This is the first for the district to have a truly promoted engineer within the fire district. And he will be reporting to Lieutenant Gokul, who's in charge of Station 83.
What does an engineer, how does that differentiate?
So an engineer essentially is somebody who is focused on operating the truck. So driving and operating the truck and pumping the truck, that's their specialty.
Okay.
So I'll give you a little bit more just because about Eric. We got the brief here. Eric is an acting engineer, career engineer, and also an acting lieutenant for Vail. He is a very, very high quality applicant, and we're very lucky to have him in the district and have his wealth of knowledge to join us. He's also very excited to be coming to us. So that's one of 2. The second is Lori Brill. Last week, we welcomed Lori Brill officially back into Golden Gate Fire Protection District at the rank of battalion chief. Lori Brill previously served the Golden Gate community for very many years before spending 5 years as a volunteer for Golden Fire. Lori is also a career firefighter and a battalion chief for DFPC's training division, so Division Fire Prevention Controls Training Division. Based off of her experience and certification, Lori's going to be filling the lateral position of Battalion Chief of Training and Safety for Golden Gate Fire. This is another first for the district, and she will be reporting directly to me. These 2 hires are very significant for us. As it stands now, Golden Gate over the last year, we have dramatically increased the level of certification that we have operationally within the fire district. Both of these candidates bring they bring Fire Officer 2, Fire Officer 1, career driver operator. On the wildland side, they bring engine boss or squad boss. They bring all kinds of things into our district to make us stronger. And it's a incredible thing to see us attract these types of firefighters into our district and make our district that much more robust and strong as we move forward, which was the goal. And we're starting to really see that. We're starting to see more firefighters. We're starting to see retention of firefighters. And now we're starting to see attention from outside of the district for people wanting to come to the district to serve, especially level firefighters that are on that very high level that are excited to come here. So we're really, really excited about them joining the district. And we're just want you guys to help me welcome Engineer Herber and Battalion Chief Brill. Really awesome. Okay, training. Golden Gate Firefighter 1 Academy is going very well. Unfortunately, this last snowstorm, the big snowstorm, and then another snowstorm that was previous, right after our last board meeting, caused the Clear Creek Training Center to be closed, and also our ability to go to Clear Creek to be very difficult. So we missed 2 Saturday training days with them. This changed our schedule for the fire academy a little bit. So the firefighters are almost done with their didactic. So all of their book and online work, they should be done within the next 2 weeks, and they'll be going to take their written tests for firefighter 1. However, what we've done is shifted their skills portion of firefighter 1 till the late spring and summer. So we're going to be going back and revisiting that. The other reason that we're doing that is that we were invited to participate in a joint hazmat academy with Pleasant View Fire. So we'll be sending 7 firefighters to the hazmat academy, including the 6 recruits with Pleasant View Fire. And at the culmination or completion of hazmat academy, we'll be re-engaging with the firefighter 1 skills portion. This is important because in order to become a state certified firefighter 1, you have to have a written firefighter 1 pass. You have to have a firefighter 1 skills pass. You have to have a pass in hazmat awareness and hazmat operations, both written tests, and a hazmat awareness and written skills test. When we're done with this academy, our firefighters will not just be done with firefighter 1. They won't just have one portion of it. They'll have all of it, and they will be able to go to the state. We'll be able to submit everything, and they will be fully certified firefighter 1s for the state in the state of Colorado at the end of our academy. So we're really, really glad that this has fallen this way. It has extended our timeline a little bit, but they're all really excited to be able to be fully certified at the end of the academy. Moving on from that, firefighter Drew Kenyon, or probationary firefighter Drew Kenyon, completed IV training and is now certified as an EMT IV. Firefighter Nick Meyer is still doing very, very well in EMT school. He's about 4 weeks away from completion there at Red Rocks. Probationary firefighter Chris Creech continues to progress quickly through the Denver Health EMT program and is still doing very well. Several of our firefighters, I think it was three or four firefighters, went to a joint cadaver lab with our other local agencies and had a really awesome learning experience. There, they were able to practice skills and go through anatomy and really get some hands-on experience with a body that we really don't get in EMS during EMS training. And it was a really very, very meaningful and important experience for them. The cool thing for us is that this is going to be a reoccurring opportunity for our fire district and our firefighters. And we're going to continue to send firefighters through that training. So I think that was an awesome opportunity for them. And we're going to continue to engage in that. Chief Enright and myself attended a 3-day S215 class, which is an urban interface fire operations class, management class. It allowed us to really hone our command and decision-making skills during urban interface fires. We talked a lot about how fire travels to homes in the urban interface, what it looks like for us to be able to do evacuations, evacuation priorities, managing all that stuff. And it was a really awesome class. It was a long 3 days, but we both learned a ton. On that as well, just going back to my notes here, the district is going to be hosting a very large interagency wildland fire training on April 13th. We are going to be hosting approximately 34 firefighters between Golden and Golden Fire, Golden Gate Fire, GGFPD, and GGFPD, and maybe some DFPC people, to be able to go through essentially an entire day of wildland fire skills. All of our newly onboarded wildland firefighters have gone through a online didactic wildland fire academy training, and this will be their hands-on portion. And then we've actually expanded that, so we're going to be doing some more advanced skills, and then we're having GGFPD come in with our mobile command unit, and we'll be able to implement GGFPD and allow them to get training with us and Golden. And then DFPC is also coming in to do some training on a hardware called JTAC with all of us, and we're going to be running some simulations throughout all of the agencies as we do that. It's also going to be documented with a reporter from 5280 Fire. So April 13th, if you're driving up and down the canyon, expect to see lots lots and lots of firefighters and fire trucks and all kinds of different types of vehicles from all over the place. We're really looking forward to that. That training is being led by Chief Enright, and it's shaping up to be quite the day. So we're looking forward to that one. Finally, with training, with the appointment of Chief Brill to the position of training and safety battalion chief, she's going to begin taking the reins of training from me. I'm going to remain in a position of oversight and support and collaboration for the training division. However, Chief Brill has a very, very robust vision for the future of Golden Gate Fire Protection District, training both in district and out of district, and we are in full support of the execution of that vision. So it's one of those, as we bring in and grow the district, we are starting to create more specialties operationally, as well as non-operationally, in order for us to kind of grow and again, support that more robust vision of the fire district. Station 81. Station 81 is progressing really well. The snowstorm set us back a little bit, but all of our project volunteers are working super hard. The bathroom remodel is almost complete. And then most of our drywall work, I think it actually got finished today. And painting begins next week. The LVP flooring that's replacing all the flooring surfaces in the living portions of the stations is ordered and is also scheduled to be arriving next week. We continue to be on track with our budget for that remodel. Thank you to the folks who continue to assist with that project. That's the end of the report. Oh, sorry, I got one more thing on there. Webmaster. As of yesterday, the duty of webmaster has been assumed by probationary firefighter Drew Kenyon as a ancillary add-on duty. She will be creating a job description specifically for webmaster. But as of yesterday, she did that and she signed the email policy this morning, and is looking forward to taking on that role for the district.
Are
I
we
think
gonna
that there is a
compensate her
question.
for that webmaster position?
What was that? One more time, Niffy?
Are we gonna be able to compensate her for that webmaster position?
At this point, she wants to do it as a volunteer.
Okay, I remember there was a grant available at some point. Let's just look into that.
Yes.
That's
So the grant was for the website creation. So
Okay.
at this point, what Drew is going to do is the back end management of whatever website we have at the time. So right now we're still using our current website as the other website still in slow development with firefighter Elena. And she's going to manage all of the posting and our current website, and then she'll transition to managing the new website once it's complete and out of its development environment. Does that make sense?
It does. Do we have anyone covering the transition? That's still open?
What was that?
The transition is still open?
Yes, the transition is still open. It's been a much more difficult project than we anticipated.
Okay. Understood.
Any other questions for me?
Yes, I have some questions for you, Tom.
Go for it.
Okay, what is the mountain group that you were speaking about?
The Mountain Chiefs?
Mountain Chiefs.
Mountain
Chiefs
Chiefs,
group? Tell me
yes.
exactly, the Chiefs?
Just Chiefs. Yes, it's an operational meeting between the fire chiefs.
And are there going to be any of the following? I'm concerned about new regs.
Of new what?
They create regulations
No.
and new laws.
No, that's all the regulations and laws is all done on the state or county, state and county level, but the fire chiefs in general, like I said, it's more of an operational group. It's not about regulations or laws.
How do they interact with the Jefferson County Fire Marshals Association?
They're completely separate.
Same people can?
No,
Who finances them?
there's no finance behind it. There's no,
Okay. So there will be no concern about taxes, increase in taxes in our district to cover their expenses?
Point of
No.
order, Steve, you've known about this Chiefs group for 10 years and you ask the same questions every time it's mentioned. You know the answers to them and you waste our time.
Okay, this is.
Steve,
Should I leave the meeting now? This is new stuff.
Steve, I'll
Yeah,
answer your
no,
question.
Wait.
If that's not new to Nick.
There's no financial contribution from the fire district for the group. It is essentially a meeting of all of the executive leaders of the fire districts.
So our fire district will retain its autonomy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that section. Bunker gear. You mentioned that bunker gear has been improved over the years.
Yes.
Now, over the last, I got a $63,000 or $83,000 grant for bunker gear about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yep.
New bunker gear.
Mhm.
During that time, I researched bunker gear quite a bit. I'd like to know, do you know what has changed on bunker gear?
Quite a lot. It's mostly in the interior, so like the compounds that make up the linings itself, as well as the fit for bunker gear has changed based off of cancer research around gear. Also, there's been a lot of concern about what's called PFAS in bunker gear.
Say that again.
PFAS.
Say it again.
PFAS.
Spell
PFAS.
Steve, I thought you had done a lot of research on bunker gear. You should know what PFAS is. You must be lying about having done a lot of
It's
research on
iffy.
bunker gear.
Nifty.
So there has been quite a few changes in every 3 or 4 years. NFPA updates the standards for bunker gear, 1977. So we want to make sure that we're in compliance with that. But every 10 years, bunker gear essentially it has a 10-year lifespan. So the gear that you had written the grant for, which I think you said it was about 9 years ago.
It was a while back when I was on.
I think it was because I think that's the gear that's all the gear that we had that's all expiring. So that's what we're replacing.
And what's the cost these days for a single person's bunker gear?
Oh my goodness, roughly $5,000.
So that's 4 sets you got for 20 grand.
Yes, but however, we got this is in combination with the grant we got last year. So we got a bunker gear grant at the end of last year. Actually, technically, it was awarded I think in January for the first portion of it, and then this is the second portion. We actually got a little bit more. This is at the state purchase price, so we got a little bit more. I think we're replacing 17 or 18 sets.
And that's specific for PPE.
Yes.
Okay, next section. Great job on getting Lori and Eric back. I know Lori and she's very capable. I don't know Eric, so I have a couple questions. Because you used the term engineer a few times.
Mhm.
Obviously, I think after listening to you, engineer to you is different than me. And you said a promoted engineer. What is a promoted engineer in relation to a Society of American Engineers engineer?
So very, very different. I know that's can be confusing. So it's essentially an engineer in the fire service is what we also call a driver operator. So yeah, it's like a train engineer. That's a really good.
Not an engineer who wet scans
Nope,
your
not
pipe.
not that type of engineer. Completely separate.
Okay.
So it's a driver operator, someone who specializes in operating and pumping a fire truck.
So my next question about Eric is you mentioned he was quite capable and involved with Vail.
Correct. He's a career firefighter in Vail.
Can he be in Vail and in GGFPD enough?
Yes. So he's on a 48-96 schedule. So career firefighters work 2 days, and then he's back here in District 4 days. So he's there 2 days and then comes back for 4 days.
Okay, thank you for those answers. And you mentioned on Lori Brill that she has a robust vision for the Golden Gate Fire Protection District's future.
Training.
Training future. Okay. I didn't hear the training.
Yeah, no, that was my thing. I maybe stumbled over training, but it's training.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you, what's that future? What's her vision? But you've answered training, fine. And on Drew Kenyon, Drew was a young lady,
Yes.
or because I can't tell Drew.
Yes.
On Drew's, at being webmaster, who directs Drew?
Drew will directly report to me.
So recently, like today, I saw a brand new post on our website, which I've never seen before. It's 9 pages long. It's entitled Golden Gate CWPP 2025 Update.
It was posted 2 days ago.
Okay, I've been gone for 4, so I saw it today.
Okay, point of order. Point of order. If you want to talk about posting, we have an agenda item later that Mr. Primer brought up, which is about the website. We can talk about it there. The chief in the chief's report is not at issue with talking about things being posted to the website.
I disagree because the chief discussed.
Okay, it doesn't matter whether you disagree or not. I'm asking the president to rule on my point of order, which is that the discussion of posting to the website should be discussed under Mr. Primer's agenda item of posting to the website and not during the chief's report.
Okay, I'm willing to wait, but I don't want to forget that this is a topic I'd like to discuss.
Sure.
The 9-page posting.
Right.
Thank you, Chief. Good job on
Thank you, sir.
the things you've gotten done.
Okay,
All right, that's it.
anybody else?
Any other questions from the public before we move on?
Questions on the chief's report?
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you for answering the questions. It's really helpful.
No problem. Like I said, April 13th. That just keep that everyone in your mind for everybody.
Yes.
It will be, I don't want anyone to get alarmed that something is happening within the fire district because we will probably have like, upwards of 20 fire engines in the district at that.
I recommend we get some postings on
Where will we
Facebook.
congregate, Chief?
on
Where's the
Facebook.
one?
We're gonna be meeting and moving from here. But there will be things that happen up and along the, up and down the canyon.
Postings on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah. So people.
This will be ground zero.
Yes.
Okay, community organization reports, who wants to go first? Auxiliary, Dee Dee?
Dee Ramstetter for auxiliary. We don't really have anything much. We're having our next, meeting Thursday, April 4th at 5 p.m. here at the Grange. So if you want to know more about auxiliary and what we're doing and planning, show up here at 5 on April 4th. And I'm good.
Okay, Terry, Grange?
Yeah, the Grange, the day after this training that Kyle has mentioned, is the 14th of April. And we are having a community brunch here. And during that time, we're going to have a fire mitigation outreach. We will have a
Just a comment, maybe it's just me, but audio from the meeting space keeps dropping. This is the second time it's dropped, but for the most part, it's been intact. I don't know if I'm the only one experiencing that. Still can't hear the room if y'all are speaking. Board, the folks on the line have lost audio.
Yes, I have lost audio.
Okay, so I've got Mr. Scarf and Andy and myself have lost audio. It looks like y'all can't hear us either.
I cannot hear either.
Thank you. I'm calling Deb right now. She looks like she's trying to figure out how to either answer or ignore me. We'll see what she does. I was able to get a hold of Deb. It looks like they're trying to fix the audio for us. that speaker is wireless, so it's possible the battery died or something.
Hold on one second, if you haven't tried to reset it.
Oh, well, I heard you, so that sounds like it works again.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Can Scarf, Pan, Paul, Andy, anyone else confirm that you can hear? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Uh,
can.
next-
I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear.
I guess we're good.
I am not sure. There's quite a few people online right now.
Are we good, Kyle?
Yes, we should be good to go.
Okay, item 4.1, Community Wildfire Protection Plan, CWPP. We have a resolution, that's been pending. We have a budgeted item that is pending. And this is, for discussion and, action on the agenda. I will
Without-
take,
Without
sorry.
prejudice or yielding any of my time, I would like to ask that Mr. Primer lead off this discussion per his request.
He says, you lead off the discussion per
Okay,
your request.
Thank you.
before we do that, do we need a motion on the floor, Neffy?
No.
We do not. We have an agenda item for a resolution and there's discussion with that. So I want to, Mr. Primer asked and waited.
Okay,
So I'd like to
Okay.
yield for him to.
So we're-
be first.
we're opening discussion with Dave Primer.
And I would like to add that throughout this whole process, we are going to stick as closely as possible to the rules governing discussions. So for an agenda item, board members may speak up to 10 minutes. There can be a second round if more than one board member speaks. Community members are allowed to ask questions or make comments. They will be limited to 1 minute.
Community members
I got
may
time.
take 1 minute to ask a question, but they may not make comments during a board resolution discussion, from my recollection.
Repeat, Neffy.
My understanding is that community members may ask a question, but they may not make a comment during board discussion. Public comment gives them an opportunity to ask questions and
Okay.
make comments up to 3 minutes.
That's,
State an opinion.
yeah, state an opinion, I think is okay.
Okay,
All right.
Mr.
Dave.
Primer.
Did a little investigation into this problem. Now, the Yopin County, the county paid for the CWPP study, and Yopin County, they did, the fire department did not pay for it. So, and at this point in time, Jefferson County has a study in operation in the whole county, so, and that will suffice for this county as well, or this district as well. So I don't believe we really need to spend this $66,000, especially when we only have one bid.
Go on.
Is that it? Okay.
That's it for me. I'll wait, my turn.
Go ahead, Steve.
I'd like to wait for the other people to have their discussion.
We'll do the board first, right?
Yeah, what other board member would like to discuss the CWPP, Nippy?
Steve, say what you have to say, please, sir.
Go ahead, Nippy. You go first.
No, say what you have to say, please, sir.
No, you go first, Nippy.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
No, I'd like Nippy to go first.
Niffy, do you have any comments or not?
I have nothing to say unless Mr. Green has something to say. We have a we have a vote, we have a budget item, we have whatever, but we can move on. If he has nothing to say, we move on to the vote.
I would like to comment.
Okay, go ahead, Meredith.
We have a proposal from the Amber Alliance. Their proposal amount increased because from $55,000, which is what it was in August, I believe was when it first came out, and that was,
Point of
Oh,
order, it looks as if Mr. Green has put out a presentation or some sort of visual aid. That needs to be removed immediately because it has not been circulated to the board. That is against Robert's rules. It needs to be removed immediately.
It's not gonna be removed. Please don't touch my property.
We haven't seen it.
I didn't see
If
anything.
Mr. Green, if it's not removed, I'll ask that you leave the meeting. You're breaking Robert's rules, sir. That needs to be removed. It has not been circulated to the board. It has no place in this meeting. It has no place in this meeting.
Okay, look, why don't we do this? You present it, it's your time. Please go get it and present it or read it.
Get it out
at
of
your-
there.
Here's the same thing, 5 copies, please circulate them amongst the audience.
You may circulate anything amongst the audience that you wish. You may not present something in front of the board without having circulated to the board. Remove that exhibit forthwith.
Well, it's the same thing, but I don't see it.
Please don't touch my property, Mayor.
Can I read it?
Get your property out of there. You're trespassing by having it presented in front of the board. That's trespassing.
You're repeating yourself. If you're done.
Okay.
So let me read. Let me
But
tell you what's
Barrett,
going on.
wait, time. Barrett was speaking.
Yeah, I was speaking.
I thought I was too.
No, Barrett, you didn't.
Mr. Green, you yielded your time. You are not
Barrett's
speaking.
I'm gonna stop.
I was speaking,
Go ahead, Barrett.
and I would
Fine,
like to
you go first.
continue. Well,
Mr. Green, remove that exhibit. Meredith, please remove that. Somebody remove that exhibit. That is a violation of Robert's rules while Meredith is speaking. It must go now. This is a complete break of decorum. It is completely inappropriate. It must go.
Can I have my property, please? Yeah,
Are you gonna hold it back here?
I'll put it back. on
Mr.
first.
Green, if you'd like the sheriffs to remove your property because of your break in decorum, which is ostensibly a break in the law, you can have that happen.
Point of order. You're repeating yourself. So here's what's going on.
Okay. Barrett,
I
Has
yield
the
my
floor.
time to Mr. Green. Will you
Okay.
please present your discussion, because I was speaking, and then you came out and put that in front of me.
I thought if he said Mr. Green should speak.
No, you said you
No.
didn't want to, so
Go
I
ahead.
started to speak.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is about the CWPP update and the reasons not to create another $66,655 CWPP. As many of you know, I was against putting this as a line item in the budget at 55,000, now 66,000 plus. But we get another CWPP for the community. We already have two. We're perfectly good. My reason is that we already have two, and they're still 99% effective and relevant. There has been little significant change where CWPPs are concerned within our Mountain Fire District. However, numerous district members were looking for grant money and were told that the Golden Gates Fire Protection District CWPPs were out of date and needed to be less than 10 years old, and for that reason, they were ineligible for grant awards. That's what people were told and came to this meeting.
No, that's not.
It's not true. Please tell me why it's not true.
Because the grant was not.
Hold on, point of order.
Go ahead.
Mr.
Go
Green
ahead.
is speaking.
Go ahead.
You talk too much.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize. Go ahead.
At the March 4th, 2024 county meeting here at the Grange, I discussed this with Mark Gutke, the director of critical incident response of Jefferson County, and his supervisor. They're both here. Many of you people met him. Both of them.
What was the name again?
Mark Gutke. I don't remember his boss's name, but he was there too. His boss is pretty new. Mark's been around forever. They both felt that the Jefferson County CWPP currently underway would cover the Golden Gate Fire Protection District. I also spoke to a representative from Ember Alliance. Ember Alliance has a big promotional piece put on our website. I didn't know it was up there. It was put up there 2 days ago, touting their skills. It's one-sided. There's only been one bid. So anyway, I talked to Meg Matonis, wildfire analyst, and asked her who was in charge of approving or denying CWPPs. Meg gave me John White's name, Colorado State Forest Service Golden Office. He's the supervisor. I got in touch with Mr. White and I explained the situation.
What situation?
The situation
Ms. Curley, can you please stop interrupting Mr. Green?
I'll tell you.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah. The situation was that we have two CWPPs that are,
Okay.
good. We have a county one that's coming. And our situation has changed very little up here. So Mr. White put in some investigative work, as noted in this email, checked with the grants manager at the state office and got back with me. You can see the Colorado State Forest Service Golden Supervisor, John White's response on the poster board, which is also the same as the 5 letters I circulated.
Since it's not in front of me, could you read it aloud, please?
Sure, I'll give you a copy of it. Sorry, I heard you read a little bit nervous.
Okay, so point of order, since this has not been distributed to the board ahead of time, it cannot be distributed to the board now, and it may not be read into the conversation. Like, we have to follow the rules, folks.
Break the rules as you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
So my conclusion is the same as it was originally. There is no need for the GGFPD to waste $65,000+ of taxpayer money on another CWPP. Our current 2 CWPPs are excellent. The GGFPD can create an addendum to our current CWPPs, listing and addressing the few updates and changes within our district. We can do this in-house. We can do this in like 2 or 3 pages, saving taxpayers considerable money better spent elsewhere. Add to this, the soon-to-be completed Jefferson County CWPP will also cover the Golden Gate Fire Protection District, giving us even less reason to spend or waste this amount of taxpayer money duplicating, actually triplicating what we already have. As you can read, we're eligible for all grants. They're not going to find anything new out there. The mountains haven't changed. The trees haven't changed. There's about 20 new houses. And in fact, there's about 160 less homes up here than we realized, according to Jan Snyder's finding for your impact fee study. We used to say there were 500 homes. Jan said there's 340 in the impact fee study. So if anything, we're at less risk. So I don't believe we should spend this money. County will cover us, and our current 2 CWPPs cover us. We can make a very easy to create update with a few things like our Station 3, like the 15,000 gallons of water on Douglas Mountain Road. There haven't been that many changes up here. We weren't spending 66,000. But there are other things that bother me a lot. That somehow somebody's able to post a 9-page promotional piece for Ember Alliance without the important.
Point of order, that's not relevant to the current conversation on the CWPP.
To their website.
Point of order.
Yeah, we know.
Are you finished?
I'm done for now, but I'd like to reserve time. First,
You may not reserve time according to Robert's rules. You have 2 opportunities to speak. You currently have 3 minutes and 2 seconds remaining on which to speaking.
Okay, the rule is if a board member participates, then he may speak again.
I created a resolution to be put forward tonight in place of the one you have.
Can we finish?
That
the discussion?
resolution has not been circulated to the board. Point of order. It is not up for debate.
Yes,
It
it has.
cannot be discussed.
It's on the board.
That was circulated. to me.
Steve's alternative resolution?
Excuse me. If you don't look at the website, Steve, then that's
I
your
do
problem.
look at the website.
It was posted.
I do look at the website.
And it's the same as the resolution that was up there last month, except.
I had another one that said we should save the money and do our own in-house update.
Are you-
Mary, is it your turn?
Oh,
Yeah, go for it.
okay, I'm gonna start my own time here. Maybe I can clarify this a little bit. Your 9-page document was put up there so that the community and the board could read the proposal by Ember Alliance that we are voting on tonight. We are trying to be transparent. So that's why it was posted on the web, so that everybody could read what they were proposing to do. I think it's valid that everybody should have had access to it. With respect to getting bids, I would like to yield my time to the chief who has been working very hard on this, and you will hear what he has to say.
So that is correct. What is posted on the website is not a advertorial or anything for Ember Alliance. That is the quote. That is the scope of work statement that was provided by the contractor to Golden Gate Fire Protection District regarding the CWPP update. We did, as we've spoken about before, we have tried to engage with other contractors. We have an official no bid from the contractor that did Gulfin County's CWPP based off of our proposed original budget of $55,000. They came back and said, we can't even give you a bid. The other contractors that we spoke to wouldn't even engage with us far enough to give us anything written as a no bid. Based off initial phone conversations, they either didn't have the staffing available to do the CWPP. They didn't have the expertise to do the CWPP, or they weren't going to entertain any requests from us for a bid due to our budget from initial conversations with them. But we did go out to multiple other contractors and we did get official no bids from them.
John White gave me an entire.
Point of order, you do not have an opportunity to speak at this point. You are interrupting the time that Ms.
Meredith is speaking. It's Meredith's time.
Does that answer what you were looking for there, Meredith?
There's more.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Green, please be quiet while Meredith's time is being concluded.
Yeah. We really do need to be covered by a CWPP. This is the absolute first I have heard from what Steve presented from the whoever that person was,
John
White, the Colorado State Forest Service, that we could be covered by the Jefferson County CWPP. That is the first that this has ever been said by anybody. So
may I address
please,
by the board?
No, you haven't. You may have been saying it, but you had no proof to back it.
Now I do.
Well,
May I address the
Mr. Green,
difference
please be
Please.
quiet. My mouth concludes her statement. In the same
so
way
I would
that
like to
allowed
hear
you
from the chief
conclude.
why we do need our own CWPP. There.
Okay. So in engaging with Jefferson County and assisting them as we can with the CWPP with our portions of the fire district or of the county. The county is a very, very large landmass. As we talked about, we only make up a very small portion of Jefferson County, right? We make up roughly 55 square miles of Jefferson County. The Jefferson County CWPP is very large in scope. It does not drill down into individual projects, individual egresses, individual neighborhoods. It does not identify plan units. It does not identify anything that comes down to a smaller local CWPP. The way that this works between the fire districts and then the county and then the state is that there are multiple levels of documentation and planning, and they all work with each other in sequence. So the CWPP for a fire district is designed to really go down to that local level and look at each community, to look at each neighborhood, to look at our egresses and our individual fuels modeling, and the projects can be done within our fire district, specifically in our 55 square miles that is Golden Gate Fire Protection District. The county CWPP really looks again at the entirety of the county. While they do cover the county, it does cover Golden Gate Fire Protection District. As we said, we have a portion of the county CWPP because we're in their county. It doesn't go down to the level of a local CWPP. There are different types of CWPPs with different goals. So, like I said, you are correct in saying that we are definitely covered by the county CWPP.
I'm saying more than that.
You were saying that's
Mr. Green, please allow Meredith's time to be concluded without interruption.
You keep
Mr.
interrupting.
Green, point of order.
you are correct in saying that it's covered. It just is not comprehensive on the local level of a CWPP. This is the reason why the other fire districts around us all also have individual CWPPs and are within Jefferson County, including Coal Creek, and Arvada and
Evergreen.
Golden and Evergreen and Foothills and Indian Hills.
Give me permission to respond.
Mr.
This is
Green, be
Mary.
quiet. Be quiet.
Still going on, Mary.
I lost track of my time, frankly.
You have 3 minutes, sorry, you have 4 minutes and 9 seconds remaining, Mary.
Hold on, Aaron, for a second.
Be quiet.
You're just trying to silence me because you don't want
I
what I know. to be
believe that
said?
it's okay for a community member to ask a
Of
question
course it's okay.
of a board member during that time.
Of course
So
it's okay.
well,
There's a
can you
board
let me do
discussion.
it?
Mr. Green, be quiet.
Can you let me give Aaron permission to ask that question?
I'm thinking the board discussion should be over before, because Aaron might have another question.
Mr. Green, be quiet.
Okay, let's finish. Oh, question for the chief?
Go ahead, Aaron.
Go ahead, Aaron.
What he just said. If every fire district in Jefferson County is required to do its own CWPP, then why does the county need to do its own? Why can't the county just agglomerate all the individual ones into one big one?
So that's actually a very good question, Aaron. So because we're again drilled down onto that local level, the county is looking at, they're not really looking at what happens on that small level that they're really depending on the fire districts to look down at that level. They're really looking at the entirety of not Golden Gate, of Jefferson County and what are the needs of the county in general. So they're looking like countywide emergency management, countywide road and bridge, all of these things that are on the county level that they trickle down to the fire districts, but they don't really build up. They kind of connect with each other. They should be in tandem with each other, but they're not the same. Does that really make sense? It's really a broader scope document.
Ms. Reheis, may I ask leave for 30 seconds of your time?
Yes,
I'd like to thank you. I'd like to make a brief analogy, and that is, you can get a national and a regional forecast, but everyone up here knows that doesn't mean a whole hill of beans, whether you're in Blackhawk, Genesee, Golden Gate, Clear Creek, or Coal Creek Canyon. That is why we have individual CWPPs. Yes, we understand what the weather looks like in Colorado or what fire danger might look like in general across Jefferson County, but we need to get down to the detail of protecting each of our individual homes. Thank you, Ms. Reheis.
thanks, Nicky.
I'd like to add something more.
You can ask me, Ms. Reheis, if she yields her time. If she doesn't, be quiet.
Just let's finish with the board. Okay, and then the public can comment. Let's let the board finish.
Okay, yeah, let's get through. We will
Meredith
ask,
has the-
we will
Meredith
allow
has
the
the floor.
public to comment and ask at 1 minute intervals per person after we finish the board discussion, but before we vote, okay? Everybody happy with that? Okay,
Hey, may I?
Steve, second comment.
Steve does not, sorry, point of order. Mr. Green does not have an opportunity to speak until all board members have spoken on the concept.
no, he is correct.
Yeah.
So,
All
Deb,
right.
your turn.
I highly recommend that everybody read this 9-page proposal. It is so comprehensive. A couple of things stand out. They do address the Jefferson County. They will be collaborating with them. The reason that we have a reasonable, in the scheme of things, bid at $55,000 now up because of our delays is because they are going to be working. We are part of Jefferson County, so they gave us. They say in here they will be collaborating, of course, with Jefferson County. Even on the first page, it's just so comprehensive. They will be using GIS data, including the location of highly valued resources, wildfire and fuel treatment history, land ownership and fire behavior output. The CWPP will include maps of wildfire risk and priority area projects, a detailed risk assessment, incorporation of municipal and fire district plans, working with all our neighbors, and an actionable plan that can enable fire adaptation and meaningful wildfire protection efforts in our district. That's what this is for. It's for wildfire protection plan. Everybody's aware of what happened in Texas recently. I don't know if you watch the news, but there was a point in the news where people were told to shelter in place because they could not evacuate from their homes because the wildfires were on the roads. Now, look at our community. We don't want something like that. Okay?
Is that the end of yours?
Yes, other
I'd
than,
like to finish up what I wanted to say now.
Okay,
Last 10
just-
minutes.
Mr. Green, point of order.
okay, Niffy,
Why?
okay, we're good, Niffy. All right, I'm finished.
Okay.
Mr. Green,
Niffy, you don't run the show. Would you please?
Mr. Green, it's my turn to speak.
Go ahead. All right, Niffy.
All right,
You distract me. It's all the time.
Steve, go ahead.
Steve.
Kyle,
no, point of order. I have not had my
Oh.
opportunity to speak.
Niffy, do you have,
okay, Niffy, go ahead. Speak.
go ahead, speak.
Since the days of Scipio, we've had a lot of conversation about what happens when people lie to the public. And one of the things that were out there were someone's either lying because they're stupid or they think you are. I would pretend that
What are we
Niffy.
talking about, Niffy?
Niffy, this is the CWPP.
yes, I would pretend that it is debatable that the statements that you're receiving from Mr. Green about the necessity of a CWPP are either, again, I say debatable, either because he's stupid or he thinks that you are.
Okay, all
It's
right,
very,
Niffy,
it is
Niffy,
very, hold on.
Niffy.
Hold on.
No
Ms.
personal
Cooley, allow me to
attacks,
No
finish
personal
my
attacks, please. Okay,
allow me to
Niffy,
finish my comments.
Keep it
it-
professional, Niffy.
It is clear that we need a CWPP. It has been budgeted for at the term of $55,000. Mr. Primer voted for and proposed a budget resolution to budget and pay for $55,000 for CWPP. That needs to be updated, stating that a CWPP that's 10 years old is relevant is like saying that you have a school plan or a fire treatment plan or a water treatment plan that's 10 years old is still relevant. Nobody with common sense thinks that that makes any sense. It must be updated. We must protect ourselves. We must protect our neighbors. We need to get this update going. It's already been funded. And the fact that we have to pay an extra $10,000, $11,000 to Ember Alliance, which is a cut rate deal, is due to the stalling and the malfeasance of board members that have sought to block the approval of funds that have already been approved to protect this fire district. I ask that we move to approve the resolution as proposed to enable the chief to accept the proposal from the Ember Alliance forthwith. Thank you.
Steve,
Okay, start with, I keep hearing we need a CWPP. We've got two of them. There haven't been much changes up here. It's very well.
Point of order, Mr. Green is repeating himself.
go ahead.
All right.
We still
Niffy.
have to.
Point of order, Mr. Primer, you're interrupting Mr. Green.
Go ahead, Steve.
They're very pertinent. Things haven't changed up here. The other
Point of
thing
order,
is,
Mr. Green, you're repeating yourself again.
Okay, Niffy, let him go. Niffy,
Niffy, everybody.
It's
here-
his time.
All right.
go ahead, Steve.
As a point of order, Madam Chair,
Can you-
the rules state
For a second.
that you can.
Mute Niffy, please.
Okay, go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Okay, I've heard we don't have a CWPP. We have two, and they're excellent. Have you read them? If you haven't read them, read them. Don't read this 9-page advertisement for Ember Alliance, who's crazy, charging us too much money. Read our CWPPs. If you don't know where to get them, I'll send them to you. No, you can wait a minute. The other thing is, there was this letter sent out, very unusual. It talks about recalibration that not be possible with your current board. This is from Ember Alliance. They know that Dave and I see the light on this thing, and they want the money. there's something shady going on here.
What letter are you?
This is
referring
an
to?
email to Kyle and Deb saying that they're gonna get this through. It's gonna cost 25% more. They realize there needs to be, they use these cryptic terms like a recalibration that may not be possible with your current board. What does that mean? And then a project that starts after the board structure has been stabilized. Well, this board's functioning the way it should. We're protecting taxpayer money. That's what we're doing. We don't need a CWPP. We can get by with updating what we've got. We can do it in-house. There isn't very much that's happened up here. It can't be described in less than 5 pages. We can get a professional like Jan Snyder, who knows how to write beautifully. If they don't like normal writing, we can get fancy writing to help us. We don't need to spend $66,655 on this. It's a waste of money. There will be nothing new identified in there. The same thing. Mountains haven't changed, the trees haven't changed, geology hasn't changed, the weather, I don't think it's changed. So anyway, I'm just trying to save our taxpayers a waste of money.
Are
Did you
you
guys vote on it?
Are you finished, Steve? And
No,
Dave?
I have a resolution that says we shouldn't put
Point
that.
of order,
resolution
you
is
may
not
not
found
introduce
in
the
here.
resolution.
We have procedures. It has to go through the process. I'm sorry.
Yours didn't.
It did. It was
I don't
posted.
get anything with
It was posted last month
You
and it was
guys keep
posted
sending
this.
me emails and
Go ahead, Dave. You're,
With a little bit of help, this thing can be updated, because we got a lot of people in here that can read the elevations, fire behavior, and everything else that goes along with it. You don't need to pay $55,000 or something. But we got other projects that need to be addressed with that same money.
can we go to the,
And just because it's in the budget, don't mean you have to spend it on that.
we have 2 CWPPs that are good. Read them.
okay,
Mr.
All right.
Green,
Let's
your
go-
time is over.
let's-
Point of order.
Okay, I'm done.
okay.
Go ahead, Sam.
We're gonna take questions
Sam?
one at a time. Oh, wait a minute.
Sam over there was first.
There's been
So
so.
I have 2 questions. So you're saying the 2 that we have are no good?
Yes.
That's one
Out
question.
of date.
And then the other one, can we put that online since you guys put your thing online?
Put what online?
Steve's paper and all Steve's hard work online? for
Well, it
everybody
doesn't
to
have,
read?
we can't do it now.
Next month.
Yeah, if it has a place next month, sure.
So are you saying the 2 that we have are no good?
I'm sorry.
The 2?
They're out of date. That's all. They're
They are-
13 years out of date. Don't.
There's a process to update them.
Steve said the county says they're good.
There is a process to update them.
Okay.
Clearly
Steve,
explained.
your time is up, Steve. We're gonna hear from the public now, okay?
You're forward.
So I would like somebody to tell me those are no good. And 2,
They are out
I'd
of
like to
date.
see Steve's-
They aren't accepted by
He says
by-
they are.
agents. Well, that's a matter of opinion.
It's a matter of opinion from the county.
That's just.
Go back to Texas.
That's-
Texas
I
has
don't,
submitted-
I haven't. This is the
Texas
first time,
has the same thing. You
Sam,
brought it up. They still
Sam.
mark down.
this is the first time
Your
I've
minute is
seen
up.
anything. Okay, thank you. Ma'am? Oh, I'm sorry. Chris, next.
Thank you. The letter that was distributed tonight says the consensus was that if conditions haven't changed much since previous versions. In 2004, the Anchor Point CWPP said we had 1 fire station. In 2011, the CWPP said we have 2 fire stations. In 2011 until today, this district has grown 100 new construction parcels. Each one new construction parcel has an average of 3 buildings on their lots. Now, my question is this John White aware that there have been substantial changes in our district between 2004, 2011, between 2011 and today? Yes or no? He's aware of those facts.
We just said he has to update it a little bit, and then you're fine.
And how do we know they're the facts? Just because you said them.
You've read the CWPPs, Mr. Green?
Say that.
And
When you said 100 parcels, with how many buildings each?
between
Point of
2000
order, I thought this was a public comment.
construction.
No back and forth, all right?
See, an average property has 3 lots, 3 buildings.
You're saying 300.
Okay,
We're 1 minute
Oh,
up.
sure.
next, in the back, please.
Yeah, my name is Dave Kabuska, and I was a firefighter. And in 2004, when the first Anchor Point
discussion or we did CWPP came about. Greg Bose, who was the assistant fire chief, and I was at that time fire marshal. We spent 2 days with the Anchor Point people, actually going out with them. We saw every neighborhood, district, road, everything else in 2 days. They did a very comprehensive program, and it came out pretty good shape. So I think the one that they did, and here's like the second one I was not as familiar with, probably updated that, but there hasn't been that much change. The problem, so my second point is, then what Greg and I did is we went and got involved in the Firewise program. After having that, we were instrumental in creating that program. After doing the first Anchor Point and the Firewise, the third thing that we tried to do was to try to get people in the neighborhoods, residents here, to do something, okay, to do some fire mitigation and take care of things. And it fell flat on its face. It didn't go anywhere. The people, quite frankly, didn't give a darn about it. They weren't that interested. My fourth point, and I think it's very important, is to get a new CWPP. I think it would be great to utilize that in getting a grant. Because if you take all the things that we need and add them up, PPE, fire trucks, whatever it is, and add that into it, it makes that grant proposal a lot more, what's the term I want to use?
Powerful.
Powerful, yeah, more need for that, okay? And if we don't, if you take just a little piece, if you ask for one little thing and one little thing here, you know what, nobody's gonna do much about it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. I believe this, yes.
I'd like to ask Steve, what is involved with an update?
There's an official process. It says it can be done as an addendum and submitted to the Carlisle State Forest Service, which is John White. He's the man who's in charge of approving and denying CWPPs as per Ember Alliance. Ember Alliance is the people who submitted the bid to us. By the way, John White sent me an entire list of contractors who can do CWPPs. He said, read all the CWPPs on the Carlisle State Forest Service website to get competitive bids. So there's not just one company. We have no real competitive bids.
Okay,
even
and
if
well,
we
there's
wanted
a
one.
part two to my question.
Okay, go ahead.
This rude gentleman, I don't know his name, I'm sorry.
You mean
I'd
on the
like to
ticket?
ask you, you said it's fully funded. What does that mean?
What?
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget. It's in the budget.
They voted to spend this.
Thanks.
And then
Paul?
Thank you. I've been on the board twice. I was trained as a wildland firefighter. And I have a suggestion that we can do. We're coming into the fire season.
Yeah.
We don't have a tank here at Station 1. I think we ought to postpone this decision for a few months and allocate at least half the funds for immediacy need for the safety of our firefighters and our people. Plan about 3 10,000 gallon water tanks throughout the district. Take that money, probably going to cost 20, 30 grand. The second thing is that I had a discussion with the chief, which was really beneficial at the county meeting. And I told the chief that where we live up this hill, we got 4 exits. We can exit off Golden Gate, we can exit through Crawford, we can exit down to Crawford, and we can exit down to the front. And I propose that maybe some of the money would be paid to our firefighters as paid people, not as volunteers, to go in and help to find exits for people that have maybe don't have alternative exits, or they don't even know about them, and help protect them to get their lives out with a fire and finish thing. And then the third thing is that again, helping the firefighters and paying them as on when they're not on duty is to rent chippers and place them 2 or 3 chippers at fire stations and let the firefighters man them so it's safe, and let people then get more encouraged about bringing down slash. And then after that,
say 6 months is gone, we then reevaluate and update the fire. WDP.
Thank you, thank you.
Paul, can I address one thing you said? I maintain.
Point of order, point of order,
I maintain my sister's.
point of order,
Filter the water and I.
point of order.
And Dave installed it, I believe. So no, I think it's 10,000 gallons and chief, you can use that. I put on the proper 2.5-inch NPT threads for your use at my expense, all of this, and I've maintained it full. And it's right in front of your station.
Okay, okay, we're getting,
Okay, if we're throwing the rules out, then I'd like to respond to Mr. Gross as well.
I can tell
totally
you how much
agree.
of that places too, but that's not the point here.
Next, Sheila.
Hi, I'm a former board member as well. Steve, I did read a bunch of those CWPPs on the website and I researched doing the addendum because I just thought there has to be a different way to do this. My take on that is that an addendum to an existing CWPP is nearly as complete as doing the entire thing over again. And I do believe that we've had a lot of change since the first Firewise and some of that. I mean, even if you just look at the traffic in and out of the district and our open space areas, there really has been a lot of change. So I think an addendum is gonna have to be pretty complete and it's gonna be costly as well.
I understand that those aren't addressed.
You don't get to go back
Point
and
of
forth.
order.
Steve, shut up.
Okay,
Different topic than CWP.
Terry.
Yeah, I'm the district coordinator for Firewise, and we lost our distinction this year because we did not have an updated CWPP. So I would argue that CWPD is not validated. I believe, Ryan, you looked into some grants too, and because we did not have an updated CWPP, those grants were rejected. So to put this to rest, the CWPPs we had do not work. They're antiquated, they're way too old, and we need to update that for the safety of our community and for the safety of our firefighters. I wish, I've heard a lot of talk over, I go to every meeting, and I hear a lot of what ifs and what ifs. I have yet to see a decent proposal or another option. All I've heard is talk. And it's unfortunate because it's delayed this district. It's now cost us another $14,000 because of our delays and our inactions. It's unfortunate, and I would support this 100%. I also did look up the old 2004 CWPPs. They're still on the website, and
You have an obligation to say, I have talked to you about this. I'm not interrupting you. I sent it to you, and you said, good job.
Steve.
Yeah.
Can someone ask Mr. Green to stop talking? I can't hear the audience.
You're embracing. Yeah.
Please stop talking.
Go ahead,
In
Carrie.
the 2004, the old CWPP, we have two, one 2011 and one before 2004. I printed them out, and part of their appendixes, one is methodology and analysis of wildfire hazards. Well, a lot has changed in the education and our knowledge of how fires react. And we've also learned with climate issues that we have, the fire departments have had to upgrade everything. Also, there's an appendix B. This is communities. And in this, it shows a map of each community, White Ranch, North Ranch, Guy Hill, Robinson Hill. Goes into pretty extensive how many roads, how many people are on there, ponds, tanks, cisterns. We need this updated currently. We only have 2004. We're putting people's lives in danger if we think we can put a Band-Aid on this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Brian, you had something.
So I just went through the state certification class for CWPPs for developing CWPPs. The main thing I would like to mention is that it's not about conditions. It's about what the community would like to do to become more fire adapted, prepared for the fire, prepared for evacuations. They would like to hear the input from the community about how the community can collaboratively come together, such as your idea, Steve. That was perfect. You want to take your tank and provide it for the community here. That's exactly what needs to be drawn out of the community to develop the new CWPP. You can put, it's like a bulletin, outline of what the community can do, what their priorities are, where they're prioritizing, such as I've got 7 property owners that are willing to do some mitigation. And they would like to get a grant so they can make their dollars go even further. So you have to identify where there's activity going on and you build off of that. Also with the collaborative ideas such as what you had there, Steve, of, you know, hey, I've got this equipment, I've got a chipper, I've got a trailer. We would like to do a chipping day. That's the purpose of the CWPP, and that's why the 10-year time frame becomes a little bit outdated, is because there wasn't, as far as I saw in the 2011, other than there being like the chipping days or the talk, the education about, hey, clean your gutters, which this is all still part of it. But they would like to see like a time frame, the projects that are being proposed, and then that way when you go to apply for the grants, you can specify this is actually supported by the community as a whole. And it's also about involving the stakeholders, outside stakeholders, such as the Clear Creek Watershed Coalition, that can help you out to get additional grant dollars. This whole process, just FYI, this whole process could have been funded by grants if the CWPP hadn't gone beyond 10 years. So if you get onto it, which I think everybody's in agreement that you need to do, it's just about how you want to go about doing it. If you get on it and you stay on it within every 5 years in a 5-year cycle, you can have this paid for in the next future, as long as you have that specified in your CWPP plan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody?
Real
Dave?
quickly, there's some
Oh.
folks on the line. If I would ask maybe Mr. Chief, can you go ahead and read the comment from Mr. Arndt? He asked that it be read it aloud.
Yeah. Nope, I can read that, and also I'll go actually read this all up into the minutes here. So Cindy, and my apologies, Cindy, I may mispronounce your last name, Petrovanik Miller. Said, isn't the point of a that the CWPP is outdated and then the new one has already been budgeted? And then Mr. or Mrs. Arndt also asked the Anchor Point report, said Anchor Point reports that performed in 2004 contain all of the infrastructure information except for the easily updated structure addition and subtraction. Water source database is updated and easily updated in the CWPP. Very few sections require updates. Significant increase in the 2024 budget should make all the involved question a large spending item, line item that can potentially be reduced using more economical yet effective methods. Or not, should be it.
Okay, Dave?
May I say something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who's online?
Patty Neer.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Patty.
I've read the 2004. I've read the 2011. The 2004 is very professional, but 2011 is somewhat sloppy. And there's a good many of us who are not in homeowners associations that are left out of both of those. Everybody has great ideas, but you can throw ideas around till obviously we've thrown them around for years and we haven't gotten anywhere. We need to have a professional group come in, do a professional evaluation, get things professionally organized, and just get it done. And I am frustrated that we are sitting here with an extra charge on this because we were messing around for 6 months, and now we're 6 months behind getting started on this. It needs to get done. This needs to be done professionally. It can't be a little here and a little there. Gee, I've got a water tank, I've got a chipper. It needs to be professionally set aside and organized. Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Dave?
Well, new information is always difficult to receive at this point in the process, granted. But it seems to me that the information from John White, the supervisor, is significant enough to warrant at least some further discussion with John White. I mean, if the person that approves this from the Forest Service is saying that the changes may not require a significant update, and we may be able to update with a addendum or a minimal effort, it just begs the question, instead of having the pros and the cons and the same discussion of two sides that we have now, would if the board would have a small committee that would look at what has changed, what would an addendum require? Is it more significant than we want to undertake or not, and bring that back to the board? Without Mr. White's letter there, I think it's the same discussion that we've had, but that seems to me to add a different dimension into it if he's indicating that there may not be much need for a significant update. So what does that mean? So it just appears to me that there is a valid reason for some additional look by a committee appointed by the board with a time frame that's suitable.
Thank you. Ron?
I'd just like to piggyback on that a little bit. I agree with that. If you're presented with some new information, I think it's irresponsible to proceed with this, spending that kind of money until you explore these other options.
Okay. Anybody else? Brian was next, I think.
I mean, it's about to be three. I was saying the same thing. That's exactly what I was wanting to say is when you have new information, you have to go and you have to take it into consideration and look. If the man who is the approver is saying this, why are we even still talking about it? To me, the discussions have been stopped and said, we're going to go talk to him maybe as a board and find out what he's saying. I mean, some people are saying it's no good, but the guy who approves it says that the current ones are good. That doesn't make any sense.
Do you know him, Kyle?
I do.
Is he working with Ember?
He is working with Ember Alliance on the county CWPP, yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm all for doing something if you need to and spending money. And as a budget guy myself, I mean, $66,000 could buy a lot of PPE for firefighters who could really use it and save their lives more than getting a piece of paper that we may not even need.
Mitzi?
Water tanks.
Okay.
I have to agree with the last comments.
Okay.
And it seems like last time we met, there just wasn't anyone who could, do this except for the one. But with Steve saying that there's a whole bunch that can do an addendum, why create the wheel again when we already have something to work with? It seems like it would be more expeditious if we were to take what we have, find the ones that can do that. You said there's a lot, Steve, and then proceed. And it seems like it could be done quicker and faster and cheaper. That's the big one.
Can I clarify something?
Go ahead.
The people I said there's a lot are John White furnished me with a way to see all the CWPPs in the state.
Yeah.
And I could contact them for competing bid for a new CWPP. But what you will find is most of these companies don't want to lift a finger for under $250,000.
That's right.
They're really small. Every other fire district gets triple the amount of tax revenue we get. I'm saying, and John's agreeing, and the menu posted for how to do this says we can create an addendum.
Point of order, this is public.
We can do it ourselves.
Okay, okay. Just, we've got a couple more speakers, Niffy. Oh,
And then we're gonna draw the line.
Yep.
Pat.
Seems too that, I've been going to some of these board meetings for a little over a year or so. And oftentimes new information was brought into meetings. But when someone does it tonight, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can't do that. We never discussed it before. It's almost like,
We have
it's
procedures.
almost like new rules kind of go back and forth. A year or so ago, there was new information that was brought by Mr. Creech that nobody had heard before, none of the people in the community had heard it before. And now when Mr. Green does it, I'm not just defending Steve, I'm just defending the truth. The truth is that it's irresponsible to dismiss new information just because it hasn't been presented before when it was done a year or so ago.
Nobody said we were dismissing it.
Public comment, no back and forth, please.
When Steve brought out some new information, they said, well, we can't do anything about that. It's brand new
Well, we can't,
information and
it's not an agenda item. We
Public
can't.
comment, public comment.
Here's a letter from Mr. White, which everybody else agreed.
I understand.
A lot of
Okay.
people in here agree that Mr. White should be considered because he's the one that has the smarts on this topic. Okay.
Did you read the proposal from Ember Alliance on what comprehensive things they're gonna do? Okay,
It's early.
okay,
Public
thank you. Okay, wait,
Yeah, this is kind of going off of what Ryan said, but what's your name? Trent Miller. Right. So since Ryan said he has gone for grants that have been turned down because of our older CWPPs.
Correct.
And the county has one, we're being told that the county's one is good enough. Number one, why is Ryan getting turned down? And then number two, can he go back and reapply for those grants and use the county CWPP to get the money?
no,
So I'm gonna go back and I may defer to you. I'm gonna come back to you on this one as well, Ryan. So what Ryan had articulated, and I'm gonna articulate something else in your answer with this, is that the grants that you're applying for, they're usually state distributed money that comes from federal funds. And what they're looking for is that your grant application to tie into a plan, a larger plan than just this homeowner wanting this done to protect this certain asset. They want to see that this project links into a larger plan that's done on that local level. What the county CWPP doesn't identify plans like that. They don't identify like a specific mitigation goal on a local level. So essentially what they're looking to see is that your grant application to do a certain project meets this objective underneath this local CWPP that also meets the objective under the countywide CWPP that makes the state Forest Service like their major goals, which then also meet the national goals within the Forest Service. They're all connected up and down.
So is the state Forest Service looking at it differently than the feds? Because you just said the money was
Yes.
trickling down from the feds, and yet we're hearing from the state. So I'm wondering, are there two different views on?
It goes broader and broader and broader, right? So the state, like nationally, like decreased fire risk, right? So looking at decreasing fire risk. State, they go through, they make pods and all different types of larger like target hazard assessments, or larger landscape level assessments of what needs to be done. And then that comes down into and folds into the county. They're similar in their levels, and then that trickles down all the way into the local CWPPs. So I do, just to clarify something with this. So this CWPP proposal, just so we're very clear, this is not for a new CWPP. This is for a CWPP update. The wording is in this is a CWPP update will build off the 2011 CWPP update and incorporate other local plans and strategies. And what they're talking about is the county and the state Forest Service, including county CWPP. The updated CWPP identifies wildland urban interface, assesses wildland fire hazard risks within the district, develops and identifies implementable fuel reduction projects, which is what we're just talking about, and prioritizes community action to promote fire adaptation and consider community and stakeholder input. So essentially what they're saying is that this plan ties in with all the rest of the plans, and that's what you're looking for on a grant, as a grant reviewer on that level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it still leaves the question, is there a disconnect somewhere to where the state is saying, here, the local state Forest Service is saying, this is not our current
CWPPs are good, but yet somebody who's issuing grant money is saying, no, they're not good. Is there a disconnect in there?
That I can't, I would imagine there might be a case there, because again, if you're applying for the furworm grant is one.
That was the firm where I'm.
So that's issued by the State Forest Service.
That's the biggest, yeah.
Full circle, this guy, and I
Okay,
agree with you.
There's a comment online that would, from Andy, that he has requested to be read into the record.
All right. Andy, so it says, I would like my comment read into the record, please. My apologies, Andy. This appears to be a stall tactic to drop some information in the last minute to distract and create doubt. We are already paying the price for this being delayed. It should not be delayed further to put lives and homes at risk. This is budgeted for and approved, and we should not continue to delay this.
Amen.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna.
There's a motion on the floor to adopt.
No, the motion has not been made yet, Nippy.
I made the motion.
Okay,
I made the motion to approve the resolution and adopt the plan or the proposal from the Umbrella Alliance to update our CWPP.
okay, and I'll second that motion.
Terry said I didn't. Nobody has real talk.
That motion being
Yeah,
placed
a
on the
motion
floor
and a second.
seconded, I would ask for a vote.
Okay,
Prior to the vote, do you want to make a quick statement?
I'm sorry. Yes,
Okay.
Kyle wants to make a
I do
statement.
want to
before
make a
the vote.
statement. I do want to acknowledge something real quick before you guys make this vote. With all the things that are being considered, and the impact of the finances, I do want to acknowledge that Steve did a significant amount of work doing research into what is the community wildfire protection plan, also reaching out and talking to the State Forest Service, and did create a good conversation and list with me regarding that. So there has been a lot of work by Steve on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
To the plan.
Thanch you.
There's 4 pages or updates that are easily incorporated.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor in a second. I'm gonna call the vote. All in favor of accepting the resolution and hiring Umbrella Alliance?
Aye.
Wasting taxpayers' money.
Been no other bids.
There were 2 other bids. Did you see? I sent it to
We
you.
don't want it. That's all, we don't want it.
Mr.
that a
Mr.
nay or
Primer,
nay?
you already approved this.
I disagree.
Thank you.
Can I make one comment on that?
Go ahead.
I was on the board as secretary of the board back in 2001. Our total budget for the fire district was $78,000 a year. And we seem to be doing pretty well. You throw out a $66,000 number, that seems like it's absurd.
We've been sitting on $400,000 for several years. And one of the grants was turned down because we had too much money.
This is fiscally irresponsible, because you could have waited a month and
Okay.
gotten some information. And
We've been gathering information
Okay,
since September.
we've been gathering
Since
information.
September.
Bring everybody.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Green
We're gonna
refused
move
to
on.
be on the budget. Have we voted? I voted aye. I didn't hear 2 other ayes.
Yeah, Meredith and me.
Okay, good, done. I will ask that my
Yes.
item be moved to the next meeting. And I move
Okay,
we
that's
adjourn.
the drainage at Station 83.
Yes, we'll move it for the 4th month.
Okay, I know.
So the board doesn't really listen to the community.
Okay.
Is what this is.
Under new business,
Very careful.
Not,
yeah.
he chose to not.
Moving on, under new business, we're finished. We're done on that topic.
Motion, we table everything till next month.
I'm sorry.
I second Mr. Primer's motion.
Yes.
Would you public comment?
I'm having trouble reading my own writing. Dave, you asked if
I think there's a
something be
desire
added. The bookkeeper.
I asked, table everything till next month. It's getting late. Time to adjourn the meeting. Motion.
I want to make sure we don't screw up like we did last
I
time.
second Mr. Primer's motion.
Okay, hold it. We have you want to make that in the form of a motion?
I did.
Okay, do we have a second? The motion was to table everything until next month and adjourn.
The rest of the meeting.
The rest of the meeting.
whole agenda.
Rest of the meeting, which is just some new business. They were your items, Dave.
I know that.
Okay? Our next regular, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Niffy?
Yes,
Niffy?
I second Mr. Primmer's motion.
Okay, and we are voting on it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I again.
Okay. Next meeting is April 25th, 7 PM here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there are hard copies of the proposal on your way out. You can pick one up.